The question is, I am addicted to smoking cigarette and drinking alcohol. I want to quit. I have tried many times before, and I know it affects my health, but I am unable to. I don't have that willpower. What should I do? So in this gathering, there are very learned people. I request you to please share your views. How have you tackled this, or in your experience, what can this person do? Please unmute and share. Kambam Raghunathji, do you want to say something? We are unable to hear you. Yes. Anybody else? How does a person tackle? Definitely in this situation, the person is realizing that he wants to quit. And he is also realizing the adverse effects on his health. So first thing we generally, want to know here is, what is it that the person is getting from it? So some people do this smoking or drinking because they are able to socialize with it, because the feel that they get, the good feeling, the relaxation, that is why they do not want to quit it. This is known as a stage of pre-contemplation. You are not even thinking of quitting. But here, the person has reached a state where he is realizing the adverse effect. Generally, we think that there is no harm and whatever we are experiencing is only good. But we should think again the risk and the benefit ratio. The benefits that I am getting and the risk that I am taking. Is it worth it? Can the same feeling, same thing, can I obtain from anywhere else? So this is the kind of thinking that in motivational interviewing, they want to bring forth. This person has already been contemplating on it. Yes, Lalita ji, what do you think? Please unmute.
Namaste, sir.
Namaste.
What, in my experience, I found worked, sir, is when you learn the practices of breathing, like what we do, telling the person to use the breathing techniques whenever they have the urge to smoke helps. I've personally found that this helps people. It does not immediately help them, make them do away with it, but slowly over a period of time, whenever they have the urge, if they start breathing and relating that, you're taking good oxygen instead of taking the smoke, carbon dioxide, and it doesn't cost you any money, related to a cigarette. It doesn't, this kind of a cigarette does not cost you money, whereas that cigarette costs you money and damages your life. So this is something which I have kind of related to and told people, which I've learned has worked.
Beautiful, beautiful, Lalita ji. There is a very similar pranayama, cooling pranayama. You Italy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, sir. That's a very good suggestion. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Let me hear from Gautam, who is actually who did his thesis in addiction. Gautam, please share your views. Unmute.
Yes, sir. I think the causes for addiction, there are three things we have to understand. One is like agent and like host, and also environment. So we have to deal it with all the three dimensions. The environment is the people, those who got addicted. If they are in the same environment, like their friend circle or whoever is there around them, and there is easy availability of drugs or cigarettes or alcohol, they easily jump into it. So one is controlling the environment. Instead, we can have like this. They can follow some good routine like morning yoga sessions they can attend or try to be in satsang. The problem what happens is the learning they do like conditioned learning. What happens initially when they're going into addiction, when they get the good feel of taking cigarette or having alcohol, so that happens in an environment with their friends and surrounding people. That becomes conditioned. So when it continuously happens, even if he is going into that friend circle, he feels little bit of happy, kind of little elated thing. So trying to be avoiding that environment and changing his routine to some other good practices like being in satsanga will try to improve his willpower also.
Yeah.
And other things like to strengthen his mind, as they are telling willpower is less, we
Yeah.
should focus on practices like kapalabhati, bastrika, which helps to oxygenate their prefrontal cortex more. We
Yes.
can see people in addiction has uh, low hypooxygenation or hypoactivity of prefrontal cortex. We can
Yes.
strengthen that part of the brain with the breathing practices.
Wonderful. Very beautiful answer, Gautam. Okay. Gandhi, sir.
Sir, as per my knowledge, the any addiction is through friends, either cigarette or alcohol. They may not be knowing what it is, and the through friends, what they mingle and they start with the jovial type, and they start drinking. So once if they take a drink or smoke, they get some euphorism. So because the first time they're taking and the nicotine which enters the body or alcohol the which enters the body makes him to feel that as a well-being
Yeah.
or that well-being, it makes him to feel well-being. And so he starts like that. In the beginning he refuses, but later so he wants that well-beingness, because when he is feeling depression or he is feeling anxiety, so he started taking that either drinks or the cigarette. So that gives the joy for him, and positive thinking he will get by taking that one. So he will also feel taking that one or cigarette smoking, it makes him to relax also, or reduces fear or sadness and all those things it will make him. And also when he has a having any flight or a behavioral, not having braveness, he will get the braveness, that feeling he will get. And also in the beginning, it improves the sleep also. The alcohol makes him to sleep also well, and so reduces tension also, and even it increases digestive power also when you take like a medicine. And so he and his friends will advise him, this is good for a cold and cough, it will help you to and all. And you will read the some articles, because the liquor people or cigarette manufacturing companies, they'll advertise in such a way that it will keep your heart strong. So that these are all reading these things, such things, because they want to promote, because the promotion they spend, what for de-addiction or to counseling, what we spent is 1% means 100% they spend to promote the liquor and drinks.
Yes.
And we see the movies where the hero is taking cigarette and liquor, so that immediately it makes him, my hero is also taking in the picture, let me take also, it makes like that. So and so one side there is a benefit is there psychologically, temporary it is. And so long run, what it affects, you will be not knowing.
Hmm.
Cigarette smoking, it may cause the cancer after long run, and lung cancer or throat cancer. and alcohol addiction. So he will have a heart and liver, stomach, and nerve, and even nervous system and kidney, and even sexuality also will be lost during when he becomes addiction. And so when started like that, so when nicotine comes down in his blood, he wants again one more cigarette. Same thing when alcohol content comes down, he wants to have one more, so he will become addicted.
This person has reached that state. He probably started with those positive feeling, but now he has reached a state where he can observe adverse effects on his health, and he is willing to quit, but he says that I do not have the willpower. So he
Yeah,
wants to quit.
so
What should
addicts will not listen to anybody, sir. They refuse because even family members or guides or friends, if there's counsel also, they will refuse. They say, "Let me live for some time. I will die. I will enjoy today. So why should I must worry?" He will say. And so even if you go for a de-addiction center also, they will not convince. They after some time the antabuse they use for some time, and then after coming also they feel some depression or something instigates. They will again they start drinking. So this is a continuous process, and they need a lot of for them counseling and other adverse effects, and they should show as we are showing in the movies, the cigarette smoking, how the people they suffer, alcohol, how it makes. Now earlier, the alcohols they were showing, I don't know why they are now in the movies they don't show also alcohol. Only they will show injurious cigarette smoking causes gutka or pan parag, all those things they will show. But somehow they are not showing the alcohol because maybe the alcohol producing beverages people, they might have paid for the cinema theaters or something. And
thank
this
you,
is
Gandhi
how the
sir.
world is going on. It is a business. It's a business. Cigarette and alcohol is a business. So as long as the business is there, our government, when it stops only, the people will become aware of it, and they will have a healthy life. And people not new younger generation will not become addicted to these things. When they stop cigarettes, when they stop alcohol selling, then only. Say some states are there is no alcohol in Gujarat or some other Bihar. So people are not, there is no much quarrel among the families, and there is no beating or divorce in
Okay,
the
so
families.
Professor Gandhi has brought in a issue that it is important that the law becomes more strict in this domain, and he very beautifully told us the whole situation that a person who gets into addiction goes through. Thank you, sir, Gandhi sir. Abhay ji, what do you
सर
want? तुम्ही काय
सर
म्हणताय?
हा सर एक उदाहरण फक्त द्यायचंय. माझे जवळचे सिनियर मित्र आहेत, ते गेले
हा
30 जवळपास ड्रिंक्स घेत होते आणि गव्हर्नमेंट सर्व्हिसला होते. त्यांना पगार पुरायची नाही, अगदी 100-50 रुपये मागायचे प्रत्येकाला आणि ड्रिंक घ्यायला कुठेही जायचे. एखाद्याने सांगितलं की अरे 50 किलोमीटरवर आहे, तिथं आपण ड्रिंक घेऊ, पार्टी करू, तिथं जायचे ते. तर आता सध्या त्यांनी एक प्रसंग असा बघितला की त्या ड्रिंकने त्याच्या मित्राचं घर उद्ध्वस्त झालं आणि शेवटी त्याची बाई म्हणजे मिसेस वगैरे ते भांडी घासायला लागली, कुठं भीक मागायला लागली असं. तर त्याने हळूहळू सोडत सर त्याने एकदम ड्रिंक सोडली आफ्टर 30 इयर्स, 30 वर्षानंतर. तर त्या मित्राचं गव्हर्नमेंट सर्व्हिस मधून रिटायर झाला. तो आता ऑटो रिक्षा चालवतो. ते 2,000-2,500 रुपये पर डे कमवतो आणि 2 फ्लॅट पुण्यात आहेत सर त्याचे. माझ्या जवळचे सिनियर मित्र आहेत. तर त्याच्या डोक्यात एवढा असा परिणाम झाला की अरे काय आपलं, मग त्याचा मित्र, त्याचा मुलगा आता गव्हर्नमेंट सर्व्हिसला कॉन्ट्रॅक्ट बेसिसवर आहे आणि मुलगी करोडोपतीच्या घरात दिली त्याची. त्याच्या मनावर असा परिणाम झाला आणि आता वाटणार नाही की हे माणूस असा ड्रिंक घेत होता. तर आम्ही त्याला 2-3 ठिकाणी हे ऍडिक्ट सेंटर वगैरे जे आहेत तिथं त्याचं उदाहरण म्हणून आम्ही त्याला लेक्चर द्यायला सुद्धा नेलं होतं. तो काय जास्त शिकलेला नाहीये. गव्हर्नमेंट सर्व्हिस मध्ये आमच्या डायरेक्टर जनरलचा ड्रायव्हर होते ते. IAS गेले जवळपास 20 IAS अधिकाऱ्याच्या गाडीवर ड्रायव्हर होता ते. म्हणजे तर एवढं मोठं त्याने कमवलंय की आम्ही त्याचं म्हणजे उदाहरण देतो आता प्रत्येकाला ऍडिक्ट सेंटरला. तर असं एक उदाहरण आहे सर माझ्यासमोर. थँक्यू सर.
Abhayji, brought in a positive thing here, a positive example where a person who was addicted for more than 30 years, seeing the suffering of another of his friend's family, who had a permanent government job, and he just lost it, and his wife started going as a maid into other people's houses, and his children suffered. Seeing the suffering of his friends, something within him changed, and he left it forever. So there are such instances also. Umaji, yes.
Namaste, Jay.
Namaste.
I don't know whether I'm saying it right or wrong. I did it right or wrong. My mate's husband was an alcoholic. Then she used to come and cry every day because the whatever he earned, he was not giving home, and the daughter is coming to the marriage age. And then he was a painter. Actually, he's a painter. So I wanted to paint my toilets, to be frank, bathrooms and toilets. So I called him. Then after the painting work, everything was before paying, I told him, how are you going to spend this amount? And then he said half the amount he will give it, and he's addicted to his alcoholic and all. Then I told him, I give him as a suggestion, sir. Okay, I'll give half the amount. From today onwards, you have to drink only half of what you usually drink, and the rest of the amount for which you are going to pay, you have to put it in a hundi and keep it at the puja place. And he agreed to me. I don't know whether it is a respect to my words, because his wife is also working in my home, and I am paying for her. He's depending on her, whatever. I don't know. I educate her children, everything. I'm helping her. And then he started doing that. For 1 month, he started to drink half, and the remaining amount of the liquor that he used to drink, he put it in the puja. He made a hundi and put it in that. At the end of 1 month, he came so happily and said that he has saved so much of amount. So then again for the next month, I told him, make it the half of half. So he started to drink quarter of what he was usually drinking, and started saving money. And practically he could experience the money in his hand, the physical money. When he saw that, he got so much of confidence in him. And then he is ready to give it. I told him, only if you contribute, I can contribute for your daughter's marriage. So he was he has only one daughter. He's so motivated. And since 3 months, he says that he has not taken any alcoholic. He has not taken done anything. He says he has almost spent like 4,000 to 5,000 rupees. He says since 3-4 months. So I felt really happy. I don't know whether it is the right method or wrong. I used my technique to help him. That's all.
Very beautiful, Umaji, and we all, must appreciate what a wonderful thing you have done for the society. Amazing, amazing.
Thank you, Ji.
Any.
Okay, doctor, I'm also not sure, but this is my thoughts. I think we need to go inwards and identify the issue that is triggering the need to reach out for a cigarette or alcohol. And, when you reach out for the alcohol or cigarette, you get a momentary peace or happiness. It's momentary. So that's why you need to take another cigarette, or you need to take another drink. So, and that becomes an addiction. So I feel you need to go inwards and find out what are the issues that is triggering the need to reach out for a cigarette and out for a drink. So the root issue, which is causing this need to be addressed. And if the root issue can be addressed, then this person can overcome this addiction. And I don't think it is just by willpower, because all of us try our best. But the thing is, we need to address the root issue and find like what we said, and maybe doing japa and all, you go inwards, and then slowly these contemplations help you to identify what is the root issue. So when there's a slight pressure, it doesn't trigger the need to reach out for a cigarette.
What a beautiful answer. Your answer is so amazing, so amazing. So, in fact, what I was going to show, it really matches with what you have said. Wonderful. Fine. So, anybody else? Any other viewpoints?
Sir, I've got one point with me,
Yes.
Raghunath here.
Yes.
Sir, I've come across a situation where a person would smoke soon after drinking a cup of coffee. So the same thing, we said that we would bring him down to our kitchen where we have got the temple as the puja room as well the food. When he started having his tea over there, he felt that he would reduce or he would walk out and take a smoke out and come back. But
Correct.
gradually that particular habit, it came down because he was rather reluctant. He found rather embarrassing to walk out at every point of time to smoke and come back. So that way, gradually, the person stopped smoking because he had the habit of, because of probably loneliness, or he was not able to be observed by others. He was just having his smoke. But when he started having it in our kitchen itself, he refrained from doing that particular smoking. And that happened so far as the individual is concerned, so far as the smoking is concerned. In case of my friend who was in the habit of drinking, we started putting him in the near the television every time in the evening, sit together, all of us, and keep talking. To a great extent, he reduced his drinking. I don't say that he has completely abstained from drinking, but the amount of drink was only limited to a very limited, to a small drink. And that was how we were able to get some change in people so far as the drinking and smoking was concerned.
Beautiful, Raghunath ji. So satsang and bringing a psychosocial support dimension, is a very, very important aspect. Preeti ji would like to share.
Yes, sir. So I'm amazed by all the techniques which our colleagues have shared. They're
Yes.
such very amazing techniques. So just 2-3 points I just thought I would bring into. One is that we are understanding more and more that substance use disorder is now a chronic disease, something like hypertension, something like diabetes, and we should reduce the stigma which surrounds around it if we are really going to help these individuals. The second thing is that there's a genetic component also there involved, so which we should be aware about, and we should be quick to screen. And also when it comes to children and adolescents, when they have somebody who's already on an alcohol use disorder, the first degree relatives, we have to be very careful while giving them techniques to manage stress and carefully follow them up. And the third point, what we have been emphasizing, what need does this particular substance use fulfills for an individual is extremely important. Also to rule out mental disorders. Some of us have already said that. Anxiety disorder, ADHD, depression, so which can lead to substance use and which maybe as a comorbidity, we have to be quick to screen and also screen for effects of substances on the body. Also, all the time try to do strength-based counseling. That Uma madam, she gave a fantastic, kind of example how painter, she tapped on his strength and she went on for harm reduction rather than total abstinence. So I think that is another technique to follow and not have a very strong aim of abstinence. Though ultimately we would like them to be abstinent, but harm reduction is also quite a powerful technique. And of course, motivational interviewing. What goal does the person have for himself, and how use of substances is in contrast with the goal that he has. Somebody wants to become an athlete, but smoking is not allowing him to really run to his potential. Bringing that out as a form of a balance, like what you said, the benefit-risk ratio, I think that goes a long way in clinical practice. And of course, if it's a severe substance use disorder, which you said probably this case is, definitely we need a multidisciplinary approach with psychologists, with psychiatrists, with physicians, with even nurses, social workers to really, and the family, of course. And of course, yoga, it is, if they are ready to take it, it is one of our toolkit. It's one of the tools in our kit. And, allowing them to try it out and see how they feel about it, I think is also extremely important.
Thank you, Preeti ji. Very, very, very important points related to this disorder, have been covered by Preeti ji, and a very valuable contribution. Okay, so let us see, if this question was actually, this similar kind of situation has been posed to Krishna there, where, when Arjuna is discussing, Arjuna also tells him that I lack the willpower. Chanchalam hi manah Krishna pramat hi balavad dridham tasyaham nigraham manye vayu riva sudushkaram. Oh Krishna, controlling this mind for me is like controlling the air. I am not able to control this mind. So what should I do? This is the kind of a question which Arjuna also asked Krishna. So let us see from Bhagavad Gita what can we learn in this dimension. The Krishna also says, with their minds deeply attached, to the worldly pleasures and their intellects bewildered by such things, such people are unable to possess the resolute determination or willpower for success on the path to God. So Krishna tells one important thing here. One is that if the senses and the sense pleasure is the driving force for my life, if my whole life, the goal of my life is only that my senses should touch the desired object and I should gratify myself, then slowly, such people will lose in their willpower. Okay? So this has been considered as a major reason for the loss of willpower. See this example that comes in Kata Upnishad, where Yama and Nachiketa have a dialogue. The whole body has been described as a chariot. And here you can see the most powerful structure here are the horses. And there are 5 horses, and these 5 horses are the 5 sense organs. Okay. The reins through which these horses are held by the intellect, that is the mind. So mind is on one hand connected to the senses. On the other end, the mind is held by the intellect. So if the horses exert a very small, very strong pull, then the intellect will be pulled by the horse. Whereas if the intellect is strong and skillful, it will be able to control the horse. So, and then there is this fellow sitting with his folded hand behind, the Atman. If the intellect has a higher goal, that it is doing something for higher consciousness, for some higher principle in life, then the intellect will draw strength from the Atman. If the intellect has no higher goal, then the intellect will become weak. It will not have any foundation, to rely on, to hold on to. And then what will happen? The horses will become more powerful and the mind will be drawn by the horses. So Krishna says, Yatato yapi kaunteya purushasya vipaschitaha indriyani pramathini haranti prasabham manaha. The senses become so strong and they are so turbulent, they are so distracted, O son of Kunti, that they can forcibly carry away the mind, even of a person endowed with discrimination. The person actually, here also the person knows that it is harming his health. He has developed that discrimination, but still the senses become so strong that it can draw the mind, even for the people who try their best to control themselves. So Krishna actually knows it and appreciates, that senses are very powerful in Bhagavad Gita. Then what does he say? He describes the whole pathway through which this addiction has happened and through which the person has fallen from his state. So he says, Dhyayato vishayan pumsaha sanghasteshu pajayat. In the beginning, what happens is that, as Gandhi sir was telling, that you get into a pleasant situation, you expose yourself, your sense organs touch the object, and you draw a reward within you. Now that reward, it develops a thinking process. You remember, oh, that night we had so much fun with friends, and then you expect that whenever you are going to do that, the same kind of fun, that kind of enjoyment is going to happen. So what the mind does, as soon as such opportunity comes, mind starts creating those images. Okay, probably this is going to be a wonderful, wonderful time which I am going to spend. So let us just go for it. So there comes a attachment, that conditioning which Gautam was talking about. You start conditioning your mind starts playing with you. The senses, lure the mind toward them by giving the memory of the good things that have happened. But here there is a bias. It only reminds you of the good things that have taken place in the past whenever that stimulation comes. It doesn't remind you the last time when you went to doctor, the last time when you were chronically coughing, when you had repeated attacks of respiratory infections, where you had developed clogging of your blood vessels, or where your liver report showed that it was damaged, where you had loss of appetite, constipation, feeling very irritable the next day in the morning when you got up. You had a nice party, you felt very good. But what happened next day morning? How miserable did you feel? So that kind of a bias in the memory, Krishna is bringing here, saying that when the person starts thinking, he only thinks of the good things of that thing, but removes the facts which are actually negative. Then Sanghat Sanjayate Kamaha. Then person develops very strong attachment, and then the thinking that it would be nice, it becomes I want it. Once that Kama comes, Kama means now I as an individual want it. Then after that, it is very difficult to control. Initially, it was the sense organs wanting the object, mind wanting the object, but then it reaches a situation where the individual says, I want it. It means the very anchor, the consciousness, the observer also is now lost. Then nothing can save the person. He goes through that. And if anybody tries to stop him in that situation, then he becomes angry, destructive. You can see, people have literally killed their family members, for the substances, for the alcohol, because they were stopped in that kind of a situation. Then what happens? With that krodha comes the sammoha. Sammohat smriti vibhrama. A delusion comes in. And then smriti, the memory goes away. I am actually talking to my father. I am doing this to my mother. I am doing this to my brother. That memory goes away. Smriti bhramsha, the buddhi nasha. Completely the intellect gets destroyed. He becomes like an animal and then ruins his life. Just, you see, so many people, just a moment of rage and their whole life is in jail. So complete destruction, Krishna is able to describe in a flow, from repeated thinking of the positive thoughts about that thing, how the cascade begins. And the shift happens when you say, my senses want it, my tongue wants to smoke, then it becomes, I want to smoke. This transition, when it happens, then you are gone. So then you cannot cultivate that consciousness. Then Krishna is also, very compassionate. He also says that yavanat utpadane sarvatah samplutotake tavan sarveshu vedeshu brahmanasya vijanatah. It means that ultimately, when does a person stop using a small lake that he has? Only when he is exposed to a vast lake or a river. If I only have access to a small lake and I can take bath or use only that water, I will always go to that lake no matter what. But if somebody exposes me to a vast, pure Ganges which is flowing, and I take shower once in that Ganges, after that, will I ever look at that small lake again? So in the same way, people are searching solace. They are searching moments where they can expand, where they can go into deep relaxation. These substances in the beginning show them that image, as Gandhi sir very beautifully described. But what happens after that, after some time? Initially, the substance, they use the substance. After that, the substance starts using them. No, it is invariably the law that in the beginning, people say that I really enjoyed smoking and it gave me a lot of solace and peace. But afterwards, I smoked only because if I didn't do it, I felt miserable. So initially, it is for pleasure, but later on, it is to remove displeasure. So, and slowly people say that now it has taken over me and I have to compulsively smoke even if I do not want or drink. So one important point here to understand is that we have to keep an eye open and ask this question to ourselves, what Annie was telling, go inward and ask yourself, what is it that is actually making me search this? And whether the benefit that I am getting is worth it, or are there any other ways in which the same benefit can be obtained without much risk? The same phenomena, can it be done through any other means? And it is here, that the domains of introvert introspection, deep introspection comes in. And here, Krishna says that you have to, first thing that you have to do, is devote your life to a higher purpose. Durena yavaram karma buddhi yoga dhananjaya Buddhau sharanam anvichha kripana phala hetavaha. Krishna says, please take refuge in the deeper aspect of consciousness, the Atman and Buddhi within you. Do not take the shelter of the sense organs, because these people are kripana, who are living their life only because for them the highest goal is what greater gratification can my sense organ get from this world. If that is the whole purpose of my life, then dear Krishna, these people are very kripana. They undergo a lot of suffering in life. Seek refuge in something deeper within you, that believe, have this firm faith that the strength lies within you, and your intellect and your Atman have it in them. Discard reward seeking action that are certainly inferior to works performed with the intellect established in divine knowledge. So first thing that you have to do is, overall, the purpose of your life should be something higher than your sense organs. Then you will see that gradually there will be a turning of the senses inwards. This is number one. Number two, absorb in higher consciousness whenever you are free from the pull of the senses. See, senses are very powerful, but there are times of the day when you feel very pious, very pristine, very free in the mind. In those moments, when the sense organs are subdued, absorb your mind completely in me. Absorb your mind in something higher. So when you get up in the morning, probably that is the time when you have taken a shower, that your mind is really free from this kind of attachment. In that, hold on to a japa, hold on to a positive thought, hold on to scriptures, read them, recite them, and surrender yourself that, okay, I do not have the willpower, but I really want to devote my life to a higher cause. God, please guide me. And with that, ask this deeper question in you. What is it within me which is pulling me? And with that, continue your chant. Ask a question. Ask a question and chant. Do japa. With that japa and continuous questioning within yourself, you will get an insight. What is it that this substance or this thing is giving you, which is making you go outward? And then ask another question. Is it possible to get the same peace, same amount of gratification, solace through something else which is not harmful to me? I have seen people, starting with a japa, Radha, 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 or whichever, that people have liked. Radha is dhara. Dhara is a flow where your consciousness flows out through the senses and connects to the world and binds you. Radha literally means that the flow reverses. Dhara is out. Radha is in. So whichever, deity that you feel connected to, you have to start with a japa. And my own, observation is that initial 5 to 6 beats of japa that you do, they are turbulent, where your senses draw you out and doesn't allow you to sit. But after that, when their pull is loosened and you start turning inwards, then 7, 8 onwards, your beats in rosary, the japa, you actually feel the same kind of calmness, stillness, relaxation, which comes by smoking or drinking. So it is really possible, provided that overall goal of your life should shift. You should hold on to a higher principle. And Krishna says, whenever your mind is free, see, you cannot fight when it is at the peak, the battle is at the peak. At that time, you cannot learn how to fight. But when your body, mind, environment is conducive to you, like Kambam Raghunathji gave an example. When the person was near the temple, he didn't feel the urge to smoke. Go to a temple, do a japa. So when you don't have willpower, it's okay. But when naturally the system, the environment is conducive, please intensely hold on to the higher principle in life. Do japa intensely, pray intensely, accept that you do not have willpower, but believe that you have that within you which provides strength to the whole universe. Krishna says, I hold the whole universe just by the tip of my finger. This is my strength. And sarvasya chaham hridhi sannivishto. I am residing in the heart of every being of this universe. So that Krishna, which is holding the universe with a tip of his nail, is residing in the depth of your heart. So then it is not at all a problem if you can just connect to him. And he says this. He says, Vashehi yasya indriyani tasya pradnya pratisthita. I will, give you that strength that you will develop that jitendriya status. Just do one thing. Absorb your mind completely in me when your sense organs are subdued. Then he says, Karmajam buddhi yukta hi phalam tyaktva manishinaha janma bandha vinirmuktaha padam gacchantya anamayam. Then what happens? These wise people endowed with that intellect, slowly as they devote, their knowledge grows. With the growth in knowledge, their intellect becomes more and more powerful because it draws the strength from the Atman. Then what you should do? You should circulate a positive cycle. Abandon all the attachment to the fruit of the action. See, only those people get addicted who are very attached to the fruits of their actions, because it is a very intense form of the same phenomena where immediately you want a reward. Reward seeking attitude in the mind makes you prone for addiction. Once you give up that attitude, can my action be done only for my senses? Is there no other way where I can devote my action to? So if your action, is devoted to a higher purpose, slowly, you will see that you will gain inner knowledge, light from inner knowledge. That inner knowledge into your intellect will increase your willpower. And such people start a positive cycle and reach a state of janma, they become vimukta. So these vimukta sthiti also can come where you bind yourself from the cycle of suffering and happiness. You become free from that. And by working in such consciousness, they attain a state beyond all suffering. It is very much possible. So Krishna tells this state of mind where it is, stuck between the two like a kalilam. Kalilam is quagmire. Quagmire मतलब जो दलदल बोलते हैं ना, जिसको दलदल में फंस जाता है, उसमें वो जितना एफर्ट करता है निकलने के लिए, उतना वो डीप अंदर जाते जाता है. यदा ते मोह कलिलम बुद्धिर व्यतीतरिष्यसि. When will the individual come out? When the intellect will cross this quagmire of this sense organ attachment. It is like a daldal. Definitely it is like a daldal. When a person has to come out of this quagmire, what he needs? He puts his hands more and more, he goes deeper and deeper. But if somebody from outside throws a rope and the person is able to hold on to it, slowly he gains confidence. Gradually, very slowly, the person holding on to the rope of the Nama Japa, continuous japa. I have the strength within me. The source of all the strength in this universe is within me. I will hold on to this rope. I will not give up this rope. Otherwise, there is nothing that can save me. Holding on to this rope, holding on to this japa, I will slowly walk. I will slowly walk. One day I will reach the shore. I will reach the land. I will stand on my own feet. My intellect will be enlightened with its own strength. My sense organ will become meek and servant of my intellect. One day, that day will also come. I am that Dhira. I am that Veera. I will never give up. Vedas call me Amrutasya Putraha. How can I say that I am weak? So with this attitude, you have to fight this war. And Krishna says, Yudhyacha, fight it and hold on to me and you will win. So have this positive attitude, and then finally Krishna says that you reach this kind of a state. Shruti viprati pannate yata sthasyati nischala. Slowly, your intellect will become so stable like a lamp in a windless place, always enlightened. Samadhavachala buddhistada yogam vapsyasi. Your intellect ceases to be allured by the fruitive sections and senses and remains steadfast in divine consciousness all the time. Your japa becomes unbreakable, and you will then attain the state of perfect yoga. So never feel disheartened whenever you fall. But whenever your senses are subdued, stand again with greater strength. Never give up, never give up. And then, even with greater enthusiasm, you should start the next day morning. Forget the instances that you have been into the substance. Forget it like a dream. Say that, okay, it was a dream. Now I am awake and I again stand. And I cease, to get confused that I have lost it forever. There is strength within me and I am going to keep walking, holding the rope. One day I will cross this quagmire. So this is the attitude which Krishna in Bhagavad Gita wants us to have, and he says very confidently that absorb yourself in me and you will cross over this daldal, this quagmire. So this is what I wanted to share with all of you. Wonderful. So good. So detachment, acceptance, and empowering oneself. These are the things. So as Pritiji said, it requires a multidisciplinary approach. But in that, I firmly believe that this approach of holding on to something higher will be very powerful if we try to put into our life. Thank you. Thank you very much. I think Surya ji wanted to say something last few minutes.
Good morning, sir. Thank you, sir. Actually, I just wanted to share one experience. So sometimes I feel that the people who have been caught into this vice, like this addiction, whether it's smoking or alcohol or whatever, sometimes I think that person understands on his or her own and they only stop it. Like previously, friends, family members have been telling them, don't smoke, don't drink. They don't listen. So that time they are in that stage that they will do what they want and nobody can stop them. But then sometimes one incident in their life, without anybody telling them, they automatically understand and they stop. I think that is the best. So without going for any counseling, and it's not like they need the counseling, it's just like they don't want to hear. So I feel sometimes some incident, some personal thing triggers something which on their own accord they understand and they stop. And I think that would be the best, like it's the best solution for them and also the people or the family around them. Because I can say this with so much conviction, because my father used to smoke a lot, and during school I used to always hide his cigarette packets or destroy them. And then he used to keep searching for his cigarette packets. And then he used to hit us and say, like, oh, who took my cigarette packets? Why did you touch it? And then it happened in my family. One of my aunts, may her soul rest in peace, she passed away because of cancer. And that after her death, my father automatically stopped smoking. I don't know, something with that death caused this realization, like you said. But he just stopped buying cigarettes and he stopped. We never told him, like, this is it, that is. Oh, I don't know what happened to my father, but I'm so thankful for that day that, Baba realized and he stopped on his own. That's just what I wanted to share.
Thank you, Surya. So this is actually, if you ask me how that happens, it is that inner Atman giving that ray of knowledge into their intellect. See how powerful is that ray of knowledge. That years and years of habit. I have also seen such people. 50, 60 years they have done this and they left it. And they left it because one ray of light within you. See, one ray of light can destroy millions and millions of years of darkness in a flash. So what we need, what we should pray for is, God, give me that ray of light. Because once that intellect shines forth, this sense and this thing is nothing in front of it. Zero. Okay. So that is how these people are able to leave it. So it would be better if we create a conducive atmosphere for that intellect to shine forth, rather than waiting for the life to bring it. This is like how, naturally the evolution that goes on, that takes a lot of time. But yoga is about accelerating the very pace of your evolution. What you will achieve in 10 lives, you achieve in 1 year. That is yoga. So Swami Vivekananda says that yoga is to accelerate the evolution of human being into superhuman being very fast. So therefore, we do not wait for the destiny to give a situation to us to change. We change because we believe that the knowledge which that situation is going to give me is right now also there within me. I have to just ignite that. I have to just, wake that insight within me. And that can happen by the divine name, by firm belief that divine is within me, and by continuous prayer and japa. It can happen even faster. Shubhankar ji, yes?
Hello, Prachi here, sir. Good morning.
Yes, Prachi.
Sir. Sir, I want to ask you, for my kids actually. So, I mean, it will be true for all the kids. So, because when I tell them that, if you do this, then it will be beneficial in term for the yoga. I mean, so, uh, because they are currently not aware that what they can achieve with yoga. So how to start with them cultivating and slowly meditate, because their mind is so fluctuating right now. They don't want to listen something, and it will be very difficult for me to they're not believing it actually. So how to start with them so that they themselves will realize this. And if they realize this at the age of 40-50, it will not help them that much. If they start doing at this point of time, then that it will they'll get more time to get inwards. So that is my thoughts, sir. So can you please help here?
Very, very valuable question, Prachi. In my opinion, first and foremost, the important thing is that as parents, we should be doing what we want our children to do. Preaching without practicing yourself is never going to work. So first and foremost, whatever you want them to do, you follow that lifestyle. They should see you doing that daily, day in, day, years together. They should see you that my mom gets up at this time, touches the earth, salutes it, goes, does namaskaram to the Gurudev, starts her practices, does japa, continues. So whatever you want your children to be, first and foremost, you have to imbibe all those qualities in you. You go and smoke and tell your child not to smoke, not going to work. If you want them, first thing is you do that. Second thing is, don't force anything on them. Pray for them. Pray to your Ishtadevata, your God, your Guru, that they be connected. Just keep praying. Do not actively try to give them when they are themselves not coming and sitting beside you or asking for it. Or if they are neutral, or they really, are okay, if there is no choice, they are happy with it, it is okay to continue. But definitely if they deny, never force. So it all happens by living a life of example. And in the crisis situation, whenever you follow this kind of a lifestyle, they realize, that there is something different that my mom has, because she does yoga, and that is what I lack. Therefore, I should get into yoga. So you should be able to, do real sadhana, so that the children observe that in a particular situation in life, how my mom reacted. Then they will see, how did my mom get that power? Oh, I think she got it because she does yoga. That is how they will get motivated to do it. So talking, telling, it will not work. Ultimately, the whole thing is, you should become a great, sincere sadhaka and keep praying for them. So this much is it that we can do. And especially when children have crossed the age of 10, 12, after that forcing is no value. Before that, they are very moldable. So whatever you do, they actually want to follow. They actually want to sit with you and be behind you, whatever you do. So best is, before the age of 10, you follow very rigorous lifestyle and just do it, you will naturally see your child will come and sit in your lap. That is the best time when you imbibe these values into them. Once that phase is gone, madam, there is no point in telling them. You just hold on to it and show your strength in your behavior. That will impress them and they may get attracted.
Yes, sir. Yes, I'm following. Thank you, sir.
Namaste. Bye bye, all of you.